G'day, today's video is a very quick one. I'm going to be showing three separate techniques to create kind of build-up whoosh effects, those kind of sounds that you hear that kind of sit around the background when there's a build-up happening in a tune, or you've got a breakdown, you're building it up and you want something to kind of come around the edges and build up like a whoosh white noise and that kind of thing. Pretty simple stuff. The reason I'm doing this is I do a weekly challenge on my website for the pro members. I put out a set of rules or instructions and people have to do something. It's usually very small and very fun, and it's just an interesting way to get people thinking differently about production. Really good for creative ruts and just making people think differently. So this week's one was a bit more practical. It was everybody needs to create some whooshing noises, and we're going to put these into a big collection, and this is for all the members to have access to, because you can never have too many whooshing noises. Right, so the first way I'm going to do this is very simple. I'm just going to find a quick, short, stabby sample. I'm going to use a snare here. So any of these samples will do. Let's pick that one, and I'm just going to drag it into an audio track like so. If we zoom in, we can see I've just got a snare. I'll just play that for you. Pretty straightforward, but we're just going to add a reverb. Remember, over here on the live devices panel, we're going to move down, we're going to pull in a reverb, going to double click that. So this reverb will give it a long tail like it's in a big room or something. Let's listen. You hear that? Now the decay time says how long that lasts for, so I'm going to put that up quite high. Let's put it up to, say, 10 seconds roughly. So let's listen to that. Really big, and I'm going to put the dry wet value up to 100%, which means it's just going to play the reverberated sound. It's not going to play the actual clean sample like that. I'll give it a wee bit, just a wee bit. That'll do. I'm going to change the quality to high, which means the reverb will have a nice high quality sound. And let's just listen to that one more time. Very good. Now the magic here is what we can do is we can right track on the actual audio track. We can go freeze. Now freeze will go through the track. It kind of renders it down. It makes it it turns it into a WAV file for you, or renders it down into an AA file, or something mixed down, so that reverb is no longer actually processing any information. But it turns blue, because what you can actually do with frozen tracks is you can unfreeze them and go back and edit them again. But we're going to freeze it, and we're also going to flatten it. Now flatten becomes an option once you've frozen a track, and flatten simply flattens the track from an audio track with a reverb into a brand new audio track with nothing. So it's basically rendered this out for us. It's the same as resampling to a degree. So we've got this now, and you'll see there's no reverb down here. So what we can simply do is we can select, I'm going to select, let's go 4 bars like this. I'm going to go Command J, which consolidates just this part into its own separate file. Don't need this anymore. So here we go, here's our file. We can see the waveform down there once we double click it, and I can click reverse. There we go. So now that's reversed the entire sample. So now if we play this from the start, you'll notice that it's slowly going to build up for us like this. Just like that. So that's the first one. I'm going to call that whoosh number 1. Very good. Now the second one, we're going to use a synthesizer. This is going to be a bit different, and I'm going to use an operator as usual, which is the one of the synths that comes with Ableton. Now the operator, of course, has 4 different oscillators here. These are 4 sound generators. We only want one, so I'm going to turn off B, C, and D. And you'll see if we click on this oscillator, this info stuff in the middle is where we changed various things about this oscillator or operator. And I'm going to change the waveform to noise white. Now remember, if I play this, I'll turn it down a bit because it'll be quite loud. It's just going to play white noise. If I play it on say a sine wave by default, we get tones. But remember, if we go white noise, I can play any note and it will just play the same white noise. So this is handy now, because white noise is really good for doing whooshing sounds. So we can add an auto filter after it. So this is an auto filter set on low pass. So that means any frequencies underneath this point here, which is in kilohertz, any frequency is going to be let through. Any frequency above it is going to be cut off. So that means we get that really cool sound. I need to put in a MIDI track, a MIDI clip here. So just Shift Command M, highlight an area. This one's going to be 8 bars long. Open it up and let's put in a note. We'll drag it out to 8 bars. We can see down here. So now we're going to play white noise for 8 bars. I'm just going to mute this initial whoosh. So remember, this cutoff point here is going to change the sound. So what we can do is we can automate that line. You can see we've got this line corresponds down here to this filter. We can move one, the other one will move as well. So let's bring this down to the lowest point, and let's just open it up over 8 bars. So you see we've got this linear slope going up like that. So as I play this, you can see the cutoff slowly opening up like so. And that's just going to open the white noise for us. I'm going to put a reverb after it as well. Bit of decay time. Boom! So there we've got another build-up. Now one thing I like to do is I'm just going to give this a little bit of a curve by putting on some more dots and just dragging them down like this. The reason I do this is because it's quite nice. It slowly comes in, and then just as it gets to the end, it gets a bit more intense. It kind of, to me, it creates a bit more tension, so that's good. And of course, let's just for fun, we can just chuck something over it like a flanger. I'm just going to put the flanger, take the phasing down so it doesn't go from the left to right, and let's just play that, see how it sounds. Take a while to kick in, but very cool. So that's the second one. Let's call that whoosh number 2. And finally, I'm going to insert another MIDI track, Command-Shift-M. We'll call this whoosh 3 while we're at it. This one is going to be more melodic. Just mute whoosh 2. Whoosh 2. I'm going to load in an operator. I'm going to do exactly the same. This one's going to be, make this one 16 bars long, like so. And again, I'm going to put in one note, a big long one like this. But what I'm going to do is, if we go over to the envelopes mode over here, this tiny little E down the bottom, we get all these parameters that we can change as this clip progresses from left to right or along the timeline. So we're going to go envelopes, and I'm going to click on pitch bend. Now pitch bend means I want the note to bend, so I want the pitch to slide from one point to the other. And I'm simply going to do that by double clicking here, dragging it down so that's at its most negative value, another dot, dragging it up to the top. So what that means is this line is at its most negative value up to its most positive value, and it's going to slide up. Now remember, this line is actually relative to what you have in the settings of your synth. So if we go over to our operator and go over to our global area over here, or the what do they call it, the algorithm panel, I think. Yep. So this, or just this panel here, you'll see the middle changes to various parameters. You can see we've got pitch plus 5 semitones. So at the moment, this is going to bend from -5 semitones up to +5 semitones. But we can change that. We can bring it up to +24. So that's going to be really drastic. So let's listen to that really quickly. It's going to play a sine wave for now. So you can hear it rising and rising and rising. Very cool. Now that's the that's just the first stage. The second stage is I'm going to change the waveform to, let's do a saw. Okay, saw is a bit more intense. It'll be quite loud, so I'll bring it down. Not only that, I'm going to have two saws, and I'm going to have them slightly detuned from each other so they give a really nice kind of fat phasing effect. And by doing that, if I go back down here where this algorithm thing is, these 4 dots, we can change it to this one at the end. That means that these 4 oscillators or operators all play individually and then get mixed together to create one sound rather than modulate each other. So I can turn these 2 off. I'm just going to bring the level up of this one. Remember, this one's a saw, so we want to change this one to a saw as well. So now we have 2 saws going. And if I bring the fine tuning up just a little bit, get that crazy sound. Let's bring the spread up. Now this detunes it as well and spreads it to the left and right. This gives a really good spatial effect if you've got headphones on. Very cool. Now one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the cutoff filter, which is within the operator. So this is set to a low pass by default. Bring the frequency right down, and just as before, I'm going to click and drag an automation line for that frequency so it slowly opens up. So that's getting cool. Now the final part of this is I'm going to turn on the LFO. Remember, an LFO is a kind of a separate oscillator that moves slowly, separate to the actual audio output of the synth. It actually moves up and down at a rate and a pattern that you define, and you can attach that to something. And on this synth, on the operator, you define what it changes by this destination part down here. So you've got destination A, and it's setting it to A, B, C, and D. So basically this LFO is going to move up and down, and it's going to attach itself to the pitch of this oscillator and this oscillator and wobble them around. So if we listen to that, so it's going at a rate of 64, and the amount is how much it's actually changing the pitch. So if we bring the rate up, it'll go faster. Like so. So that's going to be a good one. So let's automate that rate. Let's start the rate off quite low. start off about there, and we'll bring it up to its fastest point. It's quite a lot of fun. Also, we can automate the amount. So I've just clicked on that and it's changed this line to the amount line. Let's have it quite low, and let's have it getting, let's say, 50%. So this is going to be quite intense. So it's going to rise up, the cutoff filter is going to open up the amount of the LFO, and the pitch is going to get more intense, and the rate of the LFO and the pitch is going to get more intense. Let's listen. Boom, and that's where it drops. Something cool happens. So I'm going to render these three sounds down now. I'm going to go over to the Pro member area, to the file repository, and I'm going to chuck those in the folder and with everybody else's. And so we're going to get this really nice collection of build-ups to use. Hope this has been informative today. Definitely go, if you're interested in my videos and you want to actually see what the community side of everything is about, definitely come over, check out the Pro member area. It's quite fun, lots of good projects, lots of resources, everybody has a good time. Cool, thanks a lot, tomcosm.com.